William, how are you?
Yeah, Jordan. Call it the door, please. Brown, you lead us to our invitation here.
Engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of this community.
Would join us for the claim to allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Ms. Bailey, if you would recite the Siler City mission statement.
To advance a framework for our success through balanced governance, dynamic partnerships, and an engaged community.
All right, thank you. And Mayor Protein, if you would recite the Siler City vision statement.
I would be glad to, and I'm really excited. This is our first meeting since the Wolfspeed announcement. And I think with our existing employers like Mount Air and Wolfspeed joining us, I think is one additional step towards achieving our vision, which is Siler City is a safe, prosperous, and vibrant community where diversity, innovation, and education drive success in a globally competitive society.
All right, thank you. All right, adjustments to the agenda. You have
No adjustment.
okay.
Motion to approve the agenda.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda in a second. Any questions or discussion about that? If not, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. And the motion carries. All right, next on the list, we have a presentation and Hispanic Heritage Month Proclamation, which was this past weekend, which was really great and was well attended. And it was really good time. I've met a bunch of you there. So bear with me. Are you the representative tonight? Okay. I reckon so. We'll get your copy. This is a copy. How you young man? You make me look better. All right. Town of Siler City Proclamation honoring Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas the National Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrating nationwide from September 15th through October the 15th each year, the observation began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson and expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. To cover the month, and it is celebrated today. It calls upon public officials, educators, librarians, and all the people of the United States to observe this time with ceremonies, activities, and programs. And whereas September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of the independence of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Belize celebrate their Independence Days on September 7th, 16th, 18th, and 21st, respectively. Therefore, the observance of National Hispanic Heritage Month celebrates the culture and traditions of people whose ancestry can be traced to Spain, Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean islands. And whereas the Latinx are individuals that are descendants from Latin American countries and may speak a variety of different languages, Hispanics are individuals that speak Spanish and are descendants from Spanish-speaking countries, including Spain. Latinx is a gender-neutral and inclusive term to refer to people of Latin American descent, and we are also recognized that the Latinx identity encompasses Black, African, Asian, Indigenous, and LGBTQ plus communities. And whereas in 2020, the U.S. Census Bureau counted 10,372 Hispanic and Latino residents in Chatham County out of 76,285 people, or approximately 13.6% of the county's population. In Siler City, nearly 47% of residents identify as Hispanic or Latino, while about 10 to 10.7% of Pittsburgh residents are Hispanic and Latino. And whereas the town of Siler City Board of Commissioners recognizes the unique and vital role of Hispanic and Latino residents play in the fabric of our society, economy, workforce, as well as our faithful communities and social tapestry. And whereas the Immigrant Community Advisory Committee to the town of Siler City looks forward to celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, which highlights the rich heritage, arts, histories, food, music, and traditions of all 26 plus Latin American nations. And whereas the Hispanic Liaison will be acknowledging the contributions of the Hispanic Latinx community as its 9th Hispanic Heritage Fiesta on Saturday, September the 17th in downtown Siler City. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Thomas K. Price III, Mayor of the town of Siler City, North Carolina, and on behalf of the Siler City Board of Commissioners, do hereby honorably proclaim September the 15th through October the 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in Siler City, and urge its residents to participate in activities to learn more about our Hispanic Latino community. Adopted this 19th day of September, 2022. Thank you, and thank you. On Saturday, he was my interpreter. He did real good, didn't run me out of town with that. Thank you for all. You want to say anything?
Well, we appreciate County Siler City and everybody present today. For those of you that were able to attend Fiesta this last Saturday, you know, are able to see so many rich parts of our culture and tradition. A variety of different countries that were represented that day. County Siler City saw over 5,000 attendees that day, which was wonderful to see in our downtown area, and look forward to doing that again next year. Fiesta 2023. So we do anticipate inviting all of you, your families, and your friends join us next festival. Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the legislative public hearing. G5 Investments LLC, D.H. Griffin Jr. proposed to rezone 81.049 acres for agricultural residential AR to heavy industrial. Subject properties are located along the northern boundary of US 64 west of Benji Williams Road, and is identified as parcels 12553, 12551, 63971, 12552, and 78171. And with that, we'll open the public hearing. First, we have a speaker, Mr. Jack Reddick.
Everybody here? Right, so on our agenda packet, page 34, the packet provided a memo with the information. The mayor's led request is a rezoning on US 64 West, 81.049 acres is currently zoned agricultural residential, and the applicant is asking for a rezone heavy industrial. We'll go through this pretty quickly. But, the first thing you mentioned is the land development plan, size is only that, the land development plan is something to look at. And the adopted plan recommends, we have 3 bullets. One, that there are additional goals and objectives for the Chatham and Siler City event manufacturing area. I've listed some of those on page 34. And it also goes on to 35, so there's list of about dozen or so of them. Okay. Next, the area also recommends industrial development adjacent to the property. So if you look at the land development plan map, campsite adjoins this 80 acres. It's already being rezoned heavy industrial, and it was already designated as a future industrial for the land development plan. Lastly, the subject property we're talking about is designated as rural residential. It's out of the scope of the campsite originally, so it wasn't designated as future industrial or industrial zoning. So that's the reason for this request tonight is to rezone that rural residential area to industrial zoning and change the land development plan from rural residential to industrial zoning. So there's two actions being requested. The planning board met Monday night, and made a recommendation to approve, and their recommendation was found on pages 36 and 37. And when we get back a few pages, their recommendations will look just like the one that we set up for the board to consider this evening. And so there's four items, all in the motion, changing the zoning map, approving that the land development plan is inconsistent with the reasons why, and there's reasons that are listed under the that section. And third is to approve ordinance amending the adopted land development, which is going from rural residential to industrial. And last, to approve the minutes on other regions. And so those actions that planning board take are taken, they follow the general statute. We're voting on map amendment. And that's how we get to out for you today. Any questions about location, specifics about the map that need to explain? Mayor Price has already mentioned the parcel numbers. There are 5 of them. One odd thing about one of the parcels is it's not the entire parcel. It's 1, 2, 5, 5, 3. Originally was one big parcel itself, and it's been subdivided, sort of following the creek boundary. If you put it through your packet, the applicant provided to us on page 50, the acreage for 12553, it's actually 18.6 acres. It's the northern portion of that parcel, and the boundary line follows somewhat along that creek boundary. That's the only thing worth mentioning. It's doesn't follow a parcel map, it follows a survey. All right. That's all I have. The last thing I want to go through is page 51 and 52. And the board is ready for this part of the discussion. What we're considering tonight is on page 51. It's an ordinance amending the official zoning map and adopting future land use plan. Okay. And so there's 2 sections there. One, change that zoning, one to change the land use map. So that's the 2 actions. That's what we provided on 52 is the steps in which you make that action. And staff feels comfortable with the planning board adopting the same language. That's when you're right. So that's what the board considered. You would read that entire motion on page 52, starting with I make a motion to. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or there needs to be something else to that. That's okay as well. Staff feels good about the way it's written. Okay. That's all I have there. Anybody have any questions? All right.
All right, next speaker, Mr. Dean Betts. You come to the podium and give us your full name and address, please.
Mayor, there's only 2 of us. If you want the other person to go first, mine's gonna be a little voluminous.
Well, you're first
All
on the list.
right, it works for me.
Yeah. You state your name, address, please.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, mayor, board members, neighbors. My name is Betts. I live at 510 Benji Williams Road in Staley, North Carolina. My presentation tonight is, I'm gonna give preliminary documentation and testimony, and we'll pause and ask for that the matter be tabled at that point. And If the board does not want to do it, then I'll go into the meat and potatoes of what is available to me. Does that sound all right with everybody? Is there any of it? I can, like I said, I'm asking the matter to be tabled. I'm going to present evidence that will be sufficient to table the matter. If the board doesn't feel that it's sufficient, I can go on to the rest of it.
It's not a back and forth public hearing, so you have an opportunity to speak and be heard, but it's not a conversation. You just have the floor and the board and your comment.
Fine. Now, let me start by telling you, for the past 8 days, internet service and telephone service with internet was knocked out on Benji Williams Road. Whether it was the construction site coming in and knocked down a wire, or it was an act of God, it has severely prejudiced me here tonight. I've been at the library and have had to go through the documents there. I'm going to start with my first. I don't have it printed. The other conversations with Mr. Meadows through Gmail, I'm going to put into the record. The first one I neglected to copy at the library, and I'd like to read into the record at this point. It's dated September 5th from Dean Betts to Jack Meadows. Dear Mr. Meadows, let me start by alerting you to the fact that you identified me as a Siler City property owner. That is incorrect. I am a Staley property owner. However, I am writing you in regards to the aforementioned notice I received. At this time, I am requesting that you make available by appointment for review the said proposed item, which may include, but not limited to, any environmental impact studies, any traffic flow studies that have been conducted thus far and by whom. For the record, I purchased my house on 8/30/2018 for the purpose of being close to the research triangle in my battle against a form of cancer, which there is no cure. Having said that, 510 Benji Williams Road, Staley, North Carolina, was at the time of purchase a quaint little town, population around 600 people. To my knowledge, there is not even a traffic light in town, and this is where I intend to live the remainder of my life. While my medical condition is forcing me into bankruptcy, at this time, I will make any and all objection that I can research, file, as soon as I can obtain, digest the applicable recourse I have in accordance to local rules and regulations in order to submit to your office. I don't believe the time frame from your date of notice until the hearing date allows any comprehensive review and adequate response as a layman, but would ask that my objection be duly noted to protect my appellate review and or injunctions down the road if necessary. Your anticipated cooperation in the above matter will be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Dean Betts. That's the first contact I had with Mr. Meadows. The second contact, and I won't read these, I'll just submit them into the record, was Wednesday, September 7th. I will read it. It's only a paragraph. Can you please make available for inspection and or photocopying the zoning permit application in the above referenced matter? Who do I submit this to? Let the record reflect that the page document dated September 7th, Gmail from me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item I want entered is dated September 12th, 2022, and I will read this into the record. Mr. Meadows, as you know, I've been in your office on 2 occasions thus far in an effort to obtain any and all documents related to rezoning application made by G5 Investments LLC. To date, you have only made available for review a couple of maps and a limited rezoning application. This is insufficient to be able to properly respond to the proposed legislative hearing. I also attended last night's hearing, planning board for the consideration as the G5 Investments LLC and the G5 proposal to rezone 81 acres from AR to HI. During that meeting, there was a brief discussion as to the approval of the foregoing matter, and there were areas of concern by board members, and those items were only identified by page number and subsection. I was unable to ascertain the content of those discussions because you were not willing to supply me the information pursuant to Chapter 132 of North Carolina General Statutes. Also, when the zoning meeting concluded, I approached you with my concerns as to the true nature of the hearing and your refusal to make available any and all documents in the custody and control. We also discussed parcel number 12553, parentheses 558 Benji Williams Road, in which you conveyed that only a portion of that property was purchased by G5 Investments LLC. That statement is clearly erroneous, disingenuous. At this time, I proposed that I revisit your office at 3 p.m. today for any other reasonable time or date to inspect, copy, and photograph any relevant materials as they relate to this matter. Your anticipated cooperation will be most appreciated. Sincerely, Dean P. Betts.
You can just save them all and I'll get them at one time.
Okay.
How about that?
That's fine. So as I was saying, I've been here 3 years now. Never had a problem with the phones. Never had a problem with the internet. The day that the construction company of G5 Investment pulls their trucks in there, I'm knocked out of phone and internet for 8 days. That's my information highway. That's my ability to email people. That's my ability to present evidence here tonight. Not by a fault of my own. Again, I don't know if it's an act of nature. I don't know if one of their trucks did it. I don't know if it's anything more nefarious. All I know is that I was greatly diminished in my capacity to obtain information tonight. I'm gonna put it into the record where I had to go to the library today, Google password change. And I was doing this battling cancer and having to go out into a public forum because my sanctity of my house was knocked out by somebody. Happenstance, it is. I'm also going to enter into the record the after visit summary in which I went into FastMed for, I was sick. I was sick because I was out in the public, because I couldn't stay in my house if somebody knocked out my internet. On Monday, September 19th and 20th, concerned a meeting with Jack Meadows today. That was accomplished. And Jack, we got together and he gave me a few documents back. Some of those documents, Jack, do you have documents there in front of you that you sent me back? Can you just, if you don't mind, there was a rough day.
Yeah, the records that you provided, were they already in our record public content and nothing new or anything in there? And what do they, what are the records of?
So, been multiple times records have been provided, from the email and the office. Got a little email record I can share with you. Even when his first question was, they gave him a copy of the zoning permit for the masquerade, site plan for the masquerade, Campbell member that you're all looking at tonight, this packet. Temporary driveway improvements that are located on, or just between the developer and DOT. And section 318 is the thing to share with them. But prior to that, yeah, the final commissioning mayor is here. We've opened it a couple of times, and Mr. Betts came by and brought him. We looked at it together and whatever copies he wanted staff about. So today we printed copies, what I just read to you, and Hash has done a little bit of both, email it and make copies. So staff has had no reservation, just files up to the public. And we've made copies of it.
I reckon what I need to ask a question on the board is, about probably our legal staff, can we stipulate that these records are already in record, and we can, yes, they are, and we can move on.
So can I be heard on that? Mayor?
Once we hear from our attorney, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that the records aren't the same as what I received today.
It's fine to have, I mean, Jack told you that it's identified or tried to identify things that have been provided, and things that I think what he's saying is there are things that are in your packet.
And these are made available online.
Yes.
Yeah, they're online and, I think that's right, they're online.
That's an incorrect statement. The ones that I've received today were certified. The other ones didn't have a date on them. They didn't have any certification on them. I've had to take my magnifying glass and go back and forth between the documents, and I'm still not completed yet as of today, because I got done with Jack at noon today, and I've been at the library, but I can assure this body that they were not the same documents. And he emailed me those documents. So they're a matter of record in the PDF file. So that is an incorrect statement. They're not the same documents, and I had to correspond the documents, and I still don't know today if they're the same documents. I haven't had the time. Thank you.
Well, my thought is that if it's the same documents that we've already have in the record here, that we can say, okay, that's them and move on. But if that's not the case,
I can assure you, Your Honor, that it's not the
If
same.
he has any additional documents, copies of emails or whatever he wants to show,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, let's take all his documents and Jack's documents on the record.
That's fine too.
yeah, we do that. Just submit them.
Well, they're there. And those are in the PDF files. Okay, again, I'm gonna I'm gonna request a motion at this point to table the matter, given subject matter that I just said, with my sickness, with my internet being knocked out, the repeated attempts to acquire these documents where I got them in drips and drabs, and they're not certified. It's just very, it's nothing that would allow me to make a proper presentation tonight. All right, there was a window of like 10 days. I asked for last week's board meeting minutes, all right, where some of the board members asked Jack about some issues. I wanted to present those minutes tonight. They're not available. They're hidden. They're not available. There were board members that asked Jack questions about this tract being attached to G5 investments. And that's all material to what's going on here. And again, I am suppressed from obtaining proper documents. And so for that reason, I'm asking at this point to table the matter so I can get together, and once I get my internet back up, I can email Jack again and specifically ask in writing for the proper documents. You don't want to, and that's fine. I think I've met my ability to appeal or whatever at this point, but I'll move on. But again, I'm asking.
I don't hear any motion from any of the board here to table that.
I'm making that.
That will die.
I'm making a motion.
You can't
to
make a
table the
motion. Then make a request, but you can't make.
Okay, I'll make a request. Thank you, Your Honor.
And it's nothing from the board, so it dies because of lack of interest or lack of motion. Okay, move on. Sure.
I'm fighting. Okay, now we'll move on to the packet, page 4. The Meadows Planning and Community Development Director dated September 6, 2022, G5 investments, blah, 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 81.049 acres. Compatibility with existing and comprehensive plan. I draw everybody's attention to item number 2, subsection B1, or Roman numeral I. Number to industrial development adjacent to subject property. One is limit impact of development on the environment and propose sustainability. As you know, Jack talked about that one property that was subdivided. 12553. What they're doing is it's in a tributary, a stream flowing into a river, into a pond or a lake, but I don't know what the difference is in size. And then down on Benson Williams Road, that pond is a tributary to two other ponds. All right, they're allowed to go up to 20 feet, Jack? And how many feet do they got to stay away from that?
This is not really a question and answer period. And if you would, if you could state your, what your thoughts are on this. Because these are questions that should have been asked during the planning board meeting. So if you just state what you want to say about that, rather than asking questions on it.
Excuse me, Mayor, and I apologize, I don't mean to be argumentative. I was at that planning board meeting. I was not afforded any question and answer period during that. And Jack, we talked about that today, Jack, and you can tell the mayor.
That's the venue where that needs to be done. This is not a question and answer period here. State, if you can't state why you feel the way you do or don't do or whatever, and let's keep it to that, those facts right there, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my recollection that they're allowed to go within 20 feet of that river. All right, with no studies as to what that's going to do to that river. All right, I need time to get studies done on that because it also flows into Benji Williams Road, two other parties there. When those things dry up and die, there's going to be mosquitoes, there's going to be rats, there's going to be all types of things. And this project is not taking into consideration any of that. But they say, the heck with Benji Williams Road, we don't care about them. All right, but that's in our backyard. That's one of my objections. And it's reiterated in the same packet, identified as C campsite strategies. Subsection 7, Roman numeral VII, encourage improved environmental impacts. Again, they close their eyes, those environmental impacts. We don't know what they are. And I'm asking for time to get those environmental impact studies. I'm not going to be sold a bill of goods by a developer saying that's okay, nothing's going to happen. And I know better, and you all know better. Same packet. Rural residential or subject property. Subsection 3A. These are areas of very low density development that are either environmentally sensitive or are located beyond the anticipated utility service area of the town. Minimum lot sizes in these areas are typically 1 acre or greater. Agriculture and forestry uses are common. They're not taking into account, how many houses are on Benji Williams Road? One, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're again saying, don't worry about that land. There's nothing there. All right, there is something there. I'm there. I moved here to finish out my life. And you're saying I'm not here. Well, I am here, and I'm going to be in here for the long term, everybody. It further goes on this limit impacts of development on the top. Repeatedly, they're talking about the environment. And this is my backyard where I play with my dog, where I cut my grass. And you want to put a 200-foot mega site up to my border? That's repulsive. HI goes 2. Minimum lot size 0. Minimum lot width 100. Lot boundaries setback 25 feet. I said 20 feet. It's actually 25 feet. I stand correct. Height limitation 200 feet. That's depending on the stories. That's anywhere from 18 to 25 stories. You want to put in my backyard. That's repulsive. It also says what AR is. Height limitations 40 feet. And below that, note, the board should consider the entire range of permitted special and conditional zoning uses for the existing and proposed zoning district as limited in the table of uses that I just said. But again, in my mind, and any homeowners of mine, a 200-foot mega chip site within earshot, eyesight of my home is improper. You have, they're taking 453 acres. When this goes to the appellate division, first thing that's going to be asked is, could it have gone somewhere else? Could we have gone, why do you need these 84 acres? And someone's going to have to say, we couldn't put it anywhere else. You got 2,500 acres on the other side of that campsite that's available. Why are you coming for 87 acres of residential property up to my property line? That's going to be a tough question for you all to answer when it goes to a reasonable trier of fact. And that's what shoots you down. There was no, why not 1 inch? They only had to move 1 inch west, but they wanted to come 85 acres east. My house. That's repulsive. All right, in closing, the mayor had said, I should have brought everything back up in this question. I went to last week's hearing. There was nothing documented such to me. No, you don't do it as that one, you do it this one. I asked for the minutes so we could thoroughly go through what happened, not by what is hearsay. But the minutes aren't available. I don't know, why aren't the minutes available? And again, it's a continued process to obfuscate what's really going on, all right? And that hearing last week, they had two items on the agenda. Cutting down a few trees at the golf course, so some Bermuda grass could grow. They spent literally 40 minutes talking about those few trees in the Bermuda grass. And then when this big 84 acres comes up, they have a few questions, which there's no minutes of, and Jack made some response to it, and he kind of did one of these. So I'm telling you all, and I'll be able to show it to a reasonable trier of fact. They just turned a blind eye, and with a wink and a nod, they rubber stamped it to you people. And I'm telling you, where's the minutes? Look, why are we hiding the minutes from last week? We have the end outcome, which was the impetus to get us here, but we don't have the meat and potatoes. Why are we hiding that? How long does it take to get the minutes? Who knows, right? Whenever you feel like it. But that's what subpoena duties take us for. And that's where we're headed. I'm not going away. And you're going to remember me. We're going to see each other a lot. Counselor, I'm going to put you on my Christmas list. How do you like your rollades? Fruit or original? All right, thank you. So again, given these atrocities, 3 years here, had cell phone service and internet, all of a sudden, these trucks pull in from DH Griffin, and I'm knocked out of service. We all are, and they'll attest to it. That's the information highway. That's how I communicate. I'm a cancer patient. I'm stuck in my house. All right, and I went out and I got sick. And I'm wearing a mask here so I don't get sick further. And you guys just want to kill me. You just want to kill me. You don't care about me. You don't care about the other residents on Benji Williams Road.
Mr. Betts, I take offense from you saying that me and this board wants to kill you. And I really take offense to that because we don't want to do any harm to anybody. And I really take offense to you insinuating that me or this board or anybody in the town of Siler City would do that. And I'm sorry, but I just take offense to that.
Well, and I'm sorry I feel that way. But Your Honor, when you won't allow the full record to come in, that makes me feel that way. And I will include that, and I thank everybody for letting me vent. And I would hope that you would let me live and die in peace daily in my house that I bought, without the interruption of bulldozers and trucks when they could have went 1 inch further to the west. And you're going to have to answer to that in the appellate division. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Please come out and give your full name and your address, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Patrick Wineberry. Public records, my address is 400 Bellmead Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. We represent G5 investments here on the other side. Mr. Betts, I think, speak for the owners and everybody in this room. we should pray for you for healthy, full recovery and restoration of health. We're here tonight about the quality of life of this community. This site is part of a larger 450-acre mega site, and the anticipated use of Wolf's Creek. This portion of the site is a big part of the $5 billion investment that Wolf's Creek has committed to investing in Chatham County, and benefit greatly Siler City. As the owner, we have agreed to assist in getting this portion of the mega site rezoned for their anticipated use. We'll have many details. I think there's a site plan that's been circulated, a preliminary site plan. But we are very excited about the investment and the quality of life boom that it will bring. We do have here somebody from Wolf's Creek, Chris McCann, in support of this rezoning application. And thank you for any questions and support.
All right, any more questions? Nobody else signed up to speak. Close the public hearing. Public hearing now closed. All right. What's the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending the official zoning map and approve that the action is inconsistent with the adopted future land use map because A, future uses within and adjacent to the campsite area continue to develop in a homogeneous manner to enhance the highest best use for this area and to mitigate conflicting wind compatible uses and development. B, this area is suitable for a variety of uses, including but not limited to manufacturing, assembly, research and development, warehouse, distribution, and planned business farm. C, continue to support and enhance the deliberate and orderly industrial development of the campsite. D, encourage the development of concentrated, contiguous, and compatible manufacturing uses. E, promote the campsite as a growth area and provide a priority utility extensions. F, identify adequate land for future industrial development. G, identify properties adjacent to the campsite that can be rezoned to an industrial zoning district. And 3, approve the ordinance amending the adopted future land use map. And 4, approve the proposed amendments are reasonable because A, Chatham Siler City Advanced Manufacturing campsite, close friends, is identified as a large-scale heavy industrial manufacturing area. B, encourage and attract diverse industrial manufacturing and industrial supported uses compatible with the campsite that would stimulate the local and regional economy.
We have a motion, have a second. Is there any discussion about motion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. And the motion is carried. Right. That was all of that. Yeah. All right. Any old business? New business? I think that's you.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight on page 54, is a resolution establishing financial and budgetary policies for the town of Siler City. As we discussed in one of the things that we're working to improve on is having fund policies. The only financial policy that we have that's been adopted at the board level is a fund balance policy. So this includes a new fund balance policy as well as establish a whole line of policies that I think would be good practice for our board to have at the budget level. And the word policy is used intentionally. Policies adopted at the board level, the guidance of staff on We will continue to work on additional policies in a variety of areas. Also, take on procedures. First of these types of policies come before the board, and recommend adoption. Okay, there's some questions. Okay.
Yeah, five, and seven. Packet, five of the policy. One, and it's kind of, we mentioned grant funding. But in revenue spending, don't mention grants specifically, are you intending it for to come under the water categories of federal and state funds?
Yes. It's not. The board is done.
That's what I thought, but I just want to make sure that you consider those as federal and state. That was one question.
Any of the other board members have, they've had an opportunity to look through it, any questions about whatsoever. It looked to me when I was reading through it, looked like we've sort of been doing that, we just didn't have it down on paper, and now we're gonna formalize it.
In terms of best practices, for budget and finance, one of the things that government finance officers association recommends to have strong financial and budgetary policies and practices in place. We have lots of practices, not policies, that codifies best practice.
And I'm glad to see that. I think it's, it makes complete sense, and it's something we should have had. You take the time and going through this because it is incredible. Manage the resources of the town.
Need a motion on there?
For motion on this.
I make a motion that we adopt the town of Siler City resolution establishing financial and budgetary policies as laid forth in our packet.
Second.
We have a motion, and we have a second. Already had some discussion, all those in favor, please, by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign, and that motion carries. Okay. Manager's report.
Page 82, in the packet, the latest update on how to affect on our ongoing town hall project. Continuing to make progress. A lot of progress has been made in Portland. As of late, had more action going on in town hall. Also want to remind the board that there's ethics training on Monday, September 26th at 6 p.m. And town clerk will provide them, that's required for those recently. Yes. There's also, this is what this forewarning on our board meeting on October the 17th. We have 7 public hearings.
17th
Yes,
of
sir.
October.
Wow.
Are we gonna do anything else but that?
The intent is not to do anything else but that.
Okay, good.
Wanted to give everybody warning in advance. That's the goal. We've had a lot of grants in this thing, including the park over here and all one time. One of the things you gotta do, so we'll mitigate as much as we can by moving other things to other days. And there are actually other hearings that we're actually pulling, because we have more.
Okay.
All hitting at the same time. We're also continuing to work on purchasing manual. I hope to have that to the board next meeting. It's an internal procedure document, so it would not be for board approval, but I wanted to try to copy that so we want to make progress. That in there.
We're covering anything related to policy.
I also want to speak on Ms. Roseberry. She's been very active in what's been going on in the town as of late. And I say as of late only because I have not been here that long myself. I think she's been active for quite a while. A lot of our commissioners have had an opportunity to ride around and and observed different challenges that he pointed out to us in the town, along with staff. I know he sent me several hundred text messages for me of permission to keep them, and we all appreciate that, being a very diligent and responsive citizen and letting us know ways we can improve and things that we need to address in the town. Right. I want to thank her for her efforts, and we will continue to get to work on the list that she provided us.
Yeah, and I want to second what Hank said. There's some that has already been accomplished, some that's in the works, some we're gonna have to do, put our heads together on. So but we thank you for your participation in that. All right,
I have a question. So, I know we've got in the packet, but I did want to, have a few clarification. So, well, one in particular, I know we had talked about City Hall being ready sometime in mid-October. We're now talking end of October, beginning of November. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay. So, it's gonna be late.
I just remind the board that I'm working off of contractors, within our control.
We're working on the outside HV unit, HVAC. Noted here that it's damaged and not bolted, and also not bolted down.
That's correct.
So we're working on that.
Yes, sir.
all right, any other in department report? Yeah, other than that. Town attorney, you got anything for us? Anything from the board?
Yeah, I got one. Is there anything? And hey, so this was a citizen complaint today. Where 6th Avenue connects with the second extension. Right there, we enter the greenway. There's a complaint about speeds and the noise of the mufflers, and one incident in particular where a car was coming around the curve at high rate speed. It almost hit a mother and child crossing the street. So the resident witnessed that and has asked if there's anything that can be done about the speed on 6th Avenue, particularly coming through that curve.
So what we can do is a saturated control essentially, which have more officers in the area.
Just wanted to make you aware of that area.
That's not right.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? I hear a motion to be adjourned. Second. Adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here?